got some dogs outside. So we got guys that we're very proud of.
Okay, Baker, I hear you. A little TLC reference in there, as long as you're not creeping. Stephen A., I'm going to start with you here. Are you more confident in the Browns after their Sunday night football win?
Yes, I am. But it's not really about this Sunday night football win. Listen, I'm impressed with what the hell I'm seeing from Baker Mayfield. How many times have I joked about him having more commercials with Progressive than wins? Obviously, we had to address weeks ago his wife coming to his defense and what have you. Baker Mayfield is balling. We have to give credit where credit is due. 25 touchdowns, just 8 interceptions on the league. He threw 21 interceptions last year. It's at 8 now. He's completing about 64% of his passes. That's better than he's done in his career. He's not beating these guys. And he's not beating himself, rather. And then how many games? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. His last 7 games, the last 7 weeks, Baker Mayfield has thrown 1 interception. Just 1. I got to give credit where credit is due. I'm looking at Cleveland. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, top 3 rushing attack in the National Football League. I'm looking at their defense, got some holes in it, but they try to address some things. And I'm looking at him not beating himself and not forcing the Browns to beat themselves. I'm looking at his footwork. I'm looking at him reading through his progressions. I'm looking at him looking off defenders and what have you. I'm just watching him right now. Kevin Stefanski is a Coach of the Year candidate because of the phenomenal job that he has done. What a significant upgrade from Freddie Kitchens. But I can't leave Baker Mayfield out of the equation either. The coaching that Stefanski is doing. You know, the GM, Andrew Berry, a brother, an African-American, doing his thing. Pay attention, NFL. Yes, black folks can be executives too. Thank you very much. Okay, so you got Andrew Berry doing that. You got Stefanski doing what he's doing. You got Baker Mayfield balling the way that he's balling. And the Browns elevating their level of confidence. I got to give credit where credit is due, man. I'm impressed with what I'm seeing from them. I'm more confident in them now than I was weeks ago. I can promise you that.
Maybe than I was a couple months ago, but not than I was last week. I'm the same amount of confidence. You know, I think they can win a playoff game, and that's about it. I need to see them do it against the Ravens or the Steelers, the 2 big brothers in the division, and they haven't beaten them yet this year. They'll have a chance against the Steelers last week of the season. Let me say this about Baker. Stephen A., do you remember when we were told at one point that that Baker had said something about you, and we were all prepared to come out and you had something to say about it, and then we saw the video and listened to the audio, and in fact what Baker said was, after you were critical of him, in fact what he said was, that's those guys' jobs. That's all I can control, and he said every single thing right. He didn't throw grenades at anyone. All he did, or shade anywhere, he just focused on himself. Baker has had, now when you look at it, 4 head coaches. At one point, it was over the course of 2 seasons, really. Hugh Jackson, who was the worst coach in the league at the time. Greg Williams, who was so bad, he made a play call this year that probably ended his NFL career. Freddie Kitchens, who was a disaster. And now the first time he gets a competent guy in Stefanski, he's doing very well. I thought I had a lot of patience with Baker Mayfield. When my patience ran out, I said, okay, he's not that great. I was learning the lesson again, more patience. He is doing very well, and he deserves a lot of credit for the way he handled the failures and persevered. And he deserves everything that's coming to him now. But that doesn't mean I like this team to beat the Steelers or the Ravens when I haven't seen them do it. When I saw them just beat a Giants team, and I had hopes for the Giants because I was wearing rose-colored glasses, right? I want them to be good. I'm a Giants fan. But the fact is they had their backup quarterback in Colt McCoy. Colt McCoy couldn't get anything done. They couldn't get anything done in the red zone, the Giants. They really don't have an offense. They never score many points. They didn't again against the Browns. It's not that it's like not a quality win. The Giants can play some defense. They can do some things. But I'm not changing my opinion on the Browns based on a game against the Giants. I think the same thing I thought in the last couple months. The Browns are a playoff team. They're a team maybe that could win a playoff game, but as of right now, that's it.
Listen, the Browns got wins over Indy. I'm saying the Browns got wins over Indy. They've beaten the Colts. I'm looking at that. And I looked at that win over Tennessee when they dropped 41 on the Tennessee Titans. You bring up the Ravens, you bring up the Pittsburgh Steelers, but there are other teams in the AFC that they'll have to perform against. It might be Kansas City. You know, we're not picking anybody against Kansas City. But also, you got to look at the way they played Baltimore last week, even though they came out on the short end of it, how they beat the Titans, how they beat the Colts. We got to pay attention to that, and then we got to think about the playoffs itself. Obviously, they didn't play Buffalo, but the point is that when you look at it, Buffalo, Tennessee, and Indy may be there. And if they're there, can the Browns beat one of them? Yeah.
You know who you sound like right now? You remind me of Smokey trying to pay Big Worm in Friday when he took out the money and he counted it was 1, 2, 3, and then he flipped it over 4, 5, 6, right? The Bills. You tried to make the Indianapolis Colts sound like two different teams in the AFC. You gave them credit. They beat Indy. They beat the Colts. The Browns are okay. They can beat the Colts. They can beat a team like that. But they don't have that many wins against that caliber team. They have wins against teams like the Giants.
Didn't I mention the Titans?
What's that?
Can I ask
I didn't mention the Titans?
Yeah.
I didn't mention the Titans?
You did.
Oh.
You did. I'm saying,
Okay.
to me, the teams they got to beat. Right. Beat your rivalry teams first. Beat the guys in your own division one time this year.
Right.
They'll have a chance against the Steelers.
All right, I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think is going to happen with OBJ? But I am told we have to keep it moving, so we'll save that for another day because it's going to be interesting to see when he comes back because they've been winning now without him, what they decide.